So we have one episode left of Dr. Stone, and at this point in time, there is no announcement for a season 2. Honestly, it's sad. It's really sad. However, there is some good news, and in case you haven't heard, I'm going to relay some potential good news. Now, don't get your hopes up, because it could turn out to be just like something random, like a game announcement, etc. But there apparently was, on social media, talk of that something big for Dr. Stone is going to be coming out very soon, like some form of news announcement in about a week to 2 weeks from now because of Jump Fest that's going to be happening very soon. You know, usually Jump Fest announces a lot of different things, and at this current time there's a lot of talks for potentially even Dragon Ball Super coming back next year, so that's up in the air and that's exciting, honestly. But for the time being though, Dr. Stone potentially could be getting a season 2 announcement for the upcoming like Jump Fest. And if that is the case, then we probably won't have to wait too long for the anime to begin again, unless we're catching up to the manga, which since I haven't really read ahead for the manga, I have really no idea exactly how far we really are in terms of the manga chapter content. But stopping there for now though, yeah, this was a fantastic episode for a variety of reasons, and I think the first thing I should kind of get into is just how much growth this village has gotten since Senku first arrived. Senku did something very special in this episode, not just with Chrome, but the entire village. He gave each individual villager basically a task. They all had their own task to do, and Senku wasn't necessarily supervising them at all. And what it really meant is that this village has now become competent enough to be able to achieve technological tasks without his help. Senku no longer needs to be a supervisor constantly watching over them. They will be able to fundamentally grow the entirety of humanity's science and technology without him now, which is a big moment for the story, because when we think about everything that's kind of been presented from Dr. Stone from this point on, like to where we're at right now, like from the beginning to right now, is that Senku was the sole reason why humanity could survive, and without him, humanity would take so long to be able to reach its once former glory. And now that Senku's kind of taught them all different things, little details of how to make, electronics to a potential cell phone, etc., it's made it to where now there is no stopping the technological boom. Because of just how much growth they've had in science, even if Senku somehow was to miraculously kill over, which I doubt that's going to happen, but if he was to just die right now in the next upcoming episode, technology would not stop. Because of just how much has happened, if this village survives against Tsukasa, there will be exponential growth with science, so there's no stopping it now. So it's just a very beautiful message that this episode perfectly conveyed to the audience. But there is one character that really got a lot of development, but it was a really beautiful scene for fans of Chrome. Now, we've all known for a very long time now, when it came to Chrome as a character, he was someone that was a very, early scientist. He was a novice. He even called himself, a magician or, a sorcerer. He was someone that could use magic. And even though magic is technically, if you think about the history of magic and science, science technically is magic. At least the way the origin story of it is. And when you see how slowly Chrome changed his wording from a magic slash, sorcerer user, he turned into basically a science user. That's what he's constantly said, which basically meant that it's no longer parlor tricks, faking things and all that, and, not proving things, etc. Basically, he now understands what science is about, and it's no longer about just, things that are unexplainable and magic, etc. It's something that, he can do to create, etc., and advance technology and, just the world. And I like seeing how after all this growth and after everything that Chrome has learned throughout the story, so when Senku looks at him within this episode, he's like, you can handle this. I want to go handle, the toothpaste with the tungsten, and you are going to be able to figure out whatever you need to do now for this next project. Use everything you've learned up to this very point with all the science, etc., and do what you have to. Which was a very big moment, basically. It's basically Senku conveying to Chrome that you are my equal. You no longer are below me. I'm no longer the master. I'm no longer the sensei. You now are on my level to where you can potentially invent things that I have no idea how to invent. And it's a very big moment, honestly. And I really appreciate just how beautiful that scene was, to convey that Chrome now has stepped into the realm of where Senku is at, and that Senku and him are truly partners. They are now partners in crafting things and, progressing science. I just really appreciate those little moments. Evenic since passed that with, our favorite blacksmith or, craftsman that basically says, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of your guys' bond. You guys, have, like, building buddies. And it's very beautiful in a way because the man feels jealousy, which is what any normal human would want. They would want someone that they can kind of convey their passion towards or what they like to do. And when you see Chrome kind of turn around, he's like, aren't we kind of friends and buddies making things together? And in all honesty, they are. They've made so many great inventions together. And, Kaseki actually thought he was an individual that couldn't really be a part of that because he was too old. And I honestly think that the main point of that message was no matter how old you are and, how much time has passed, anybody of age can be friends, and especially buddies in creating things. And I think that's kind of what that main moment was. And it's such a beautiful moment. I really honestly got emotional just watching that scene because honestly, you got to imagine from his point of view after all the years and stuff of him being a craftsman, creating things, etc. He looks like a weirdo. He probably was made fun of throughout his life because of what he invented and stuff was just so outlandish and weird. Everybody probably thought, like, why are you doing this? And, he never really had anyone to kind of convey his emotions and feelings to what he really enjoyed. And honestly, it reminds me a bit of myself, honestly, when it comes to anime and manga, and kind of why I even started a YouTube channel to begin with. And, not to get too sad, but one of the big reasons why I personally started a YouTube channel was because I wanted to talk to people about what I love, my passion, for instance, which is anime and manga, just the culture of it. And seeing how, our favorite, craftsman, Kaseki actually wanted a buddy to talk to, it means a lot. It's realistic, and it's something that, I can understand. I could personally understand from my experience why he would feel like that, and I just feel like it makes him a very human character in this episode. So this episode had just great moments. It really had great moments with all of our villagers and stuff, getting to just see how they feel about the growth and how they're able to do things by themselves and really benefit even without Senku now. Which, by the way, let's get into some of the technological growth within this episode. Besides the obvious, the cell phone, and being able to accomplish that, there was other things that happened. We got to see, how the winter, is not really that much of a problem anymore. Maybe growing crops, etc. will still be an issue, but in terms of heating and not dying in your sleep from cold is no longer potentially going to happen, because you have it to where Senku and Chrome, they basically work together and they create a wood stove. This is very important, honestly, because even though it seems like common sense to be able to make some form of fire in your house, in reality, it's not that simple, especially for those times, because most of the time the building materials that people in the ancient times made their buildings out of was, let's say, wood, etc. Very flammable materials. And when you really look at their buildings, it is very flammable. So if you were to, let's say, stick, a fireplace inside of these houses, it would catch on fire. It's common sense. And many would probably say, or like you're probably saying right now, but would it not catch on fire if the fire just doesn't touch, the top of the house or the wood or the walls, etc.? That's really not how it works. I think it's common sense that the smoke that rises, even if, let's say, somehow miraculously it doesn't heat up and catch the roof on fire, the smoke potentially could, get inside of all the house and smother you to death. So there is a lot of problems with just making a common fire inside of a house. So making a wood stove was something that was very advanced and something they all needed to be able to withstand the heat, but also contain the heat and funnel the smoke outside the building without really destroying the integrity of the building was very important. And so seeing how Senku created, like I said, a wood stove is something that is very important for all their survival, while also being able to benefit and get the coal dust that he needed to progress his project as well. There's a lot of little things in here that really just go to show that the household products and stuff that we have, probably in the past before it became like commonplace for us all to use different electronics, etc., were actually made by the off chance that they were just helping the main project at hand to be able to create something. something. For instance, let's say like a cell phone. Now, obviously, a cell phone didn't come first, but what I'm saying is that because of, let's say, certain aspirations or what people tried to create, etc., might have invented another product on the side. A byproduct of something. Like, let's say trying to make nuclear power. If you tried to make nuclear power, obviously, it might, on the off chance, make a byproduct of a nuke. So that's the point I'm getting at is that because of certain progression with technology, it creates other things. That's kind of what happened with the whole thing Senku's project was going. He needed coal dust, so he made it something that he could efficiently, constantly farm coal dust while also benefiting everyone and making their way of life a lot easier, which was the wood stoves. Now, another big detail is Magma. We get to see a little bit more conclusion to Magma's character, basically how he's really starting to fit in with the Kingdom of Science, and he has truly accepted Senku kind of as the boss of the village. You see how he actively helps out, wants to help out Senku, doesn't really complain, etc. It's a really big moment just to show that Magma is now kind of fine with his way of life, and, he's satisfied now that knowing he's not fundamentally useless. He is still very important in the society. Even if technology progresses to such an amazing state, he will never be fundamentally useless, which is something that, he really needed. And so seeing how he kind of fitted in with the group of characters in this episode, it's something that needed to happen, and I'm glad we had a little bit more focus on that to kind of get the final bow on top with Magma's character. Now, anyways, with all that out of the way, though, I guess the cell phones. So since the cell phones are now complete, and they managed to complete it in time, this means that they're going to be getting prepped up to be able to strike at Tsukasa first. Now, here's the thing I gotta mention. As I already said at the beginning of this video, there's one episode left, so because of that entire fact, we're not going to really get the conclusion to whatever's going to happen with Tsukasa and Senku. That's going to obviously be left up for a potential Season 2. I highly doubt this is just an advertisement for the manga. I mean, it is, but there's definitely probably going to be a Season 2 because of how successful this anime has been. I'm assuming it's been successful. So we're going to have to wait quite a while to probably see the conclusion of the war between Senku and Tsukasa, which is exciting, but sad nonetheless. It's probably going to cause many to go and read the manga, which myself included, I might do so, because I might not want to wait, depending on how long Season 2 might take to come out, if, it does get announced. But that's if it does get announced in the upcoming weeks before the end of 2019. Which, yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.